Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Own Your Essence podcast, where we get to have deep transformational conversations with some of our favorite people. I am your host, April DeMille. For those of you that are seeking intuitive insight, I provide private psychic medium readings. These sessions are designed to bring clarity and direction across areas like money, career, relationships, family dynamics, spiritual evolution, and emotional well-being. If you are ready for a deeper, more personalized support, I offer private one-on-one coaching for those navigating grief, trauma, and the complexities of toxic relationship recovery. You can schedule a discovery call using the links provided to ensure it's a comfortable fit. You'll find all booking links in the show notes of every episode. And as always, thanks for tuning in. And today it is my pleasure to introduce our guest. Her name is Isabella Young. And Isabella is a nature lover and author from Kauai. So I'm very inspired by Hawaii, actually. So I am very excited to talk to her. Hi, Isabella. I was just giving out your little mini introduction, but if you want to tell our audience who you are and what you're doing in the world now, and then maybe we can get into who Isabella was before.
Well, thank you, April. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be a guest on your podcast. Thank you for all the work that you're doing to build a platform to give people an opportunity to share information, wisdom, medicines, techniques, tools, or whatever, because there's so many people are suffering right now. I really don't know anyone who's having an easy time at the moment with what's going on the world stage and what's going on in personal lives. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to share what I've learned from my experiences that hopefully can help other people like navigate through this time with more ease and less pain and suffering.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being here. I know that we need all the help we can get from every light bearer out there. So
Yeah, we do.
yeah. So Isabella, how are you showing up in the world? I know that you do a lot to, service the world around you and help others heal. So if you want to talk about that, and then maybe we can dial backwards and figure out what happened before the war. Like, like before that transformation happened.
Right now, I'm writing another book. It's a memoir this time rather than a
Okay.
nonfiction book. And that's an interesting process because it means I have to go back into my past, and that's not fun at all. I thought, oh, this will be a different experience writing, about my past, but it's no more fun than what I've written about before, which is basically about the enslavement of humanity. What's really happening on the global stage, and
Mm,
how we are evolving as a species from darkness into light, and that's become. I can't not talk about that anymore. It really needs to be spoken about by as
yeah.
many people and as many platforms as possible, because it's only when one knows that you're in a brainwashing situation, a mind control, a cult or whatever, that you can escape. Because if you have no awareness that you're actually being programmed and manipulated and mind fucked from
Yeah.
birth,
Yeah.
then escape's not possible. And that awareness has come through my own experience of being in a cult. And then once I escaped, I realized, oh my God, but what I experienced is just a microcosm of the macrocosm.
Yeah.
So, and what I really appreciate is the fact that cults are being talked about more on through a lot of different platforms. A lot of cult leaders are being exposed. A lot of ex-cult members are coming forth and talking about their experience, which is all well and good because there are cults everywhere, and cults aren't just
Yeah.
in churches or spiritual groups or whatever. My family actually operated as a cult, with my mother as the first cult leader. I've been in relationships that operated like cult leader, cult member. There are
Mhm.
cults in like political parties and sports teams and country clubs, and also social movements are now cults. got the
Yeah.
transgender movement and a lot of fuckery like that. So
Yeah.
it's important that people understand that if you don't understand that there are like infinite number of ways that we are being the way that we think is being manipulated, then it's a sad day, because it's only those of us who know what's going on that we can then take action to move us forward out of this
Yeah.
slavery, this dystopian, technocratic nightmare. So
Yeah, and
that's
you
really
said a couple things that are really important to bring up. One, um, without the awareness, you can't move the needle or shift the dynamic, right? We can't get out of the matrix if
no
we don't even know about the matrix,
right.
right? So if it's so normalized for you, then having awareness is foreign, completely foreign, right? Like what do you compare it to? Like you don't have any basis of comparison because that's all you know, right? Is the
Right.
slavery, the program. And so it does require a lot of brave people, and even collectively to really uh, spark the change in those movements for our ultimate freedom, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. And I don't know who, what, or what is controlling us, but it's definitely a subhuman, non-human, anti-human force of evil that has
Hmm.
controls us basically from birth to death. And
Hmm.
to recognize that is terrifying, firstly, because then you think, oh my God, like what, everything's
Hmm.
part of the cult. Well, yes, it is. The
Hmm.
education system, the medical system, the legal system, the politics, science, yes, they all play into keeping people under control, living in
Hmm.
a limited way, certainly not reaching full potential as a divine human being. And it keeps us ignorant of the fact that we're being manipulated and controlled all the way along. And
Hmm.
then there's to understand that there are we we can say, oh, here we are in America and the land of the free. Well, that's just so far from the truth. So there's a lot of, like you say, uh, a lot of courage needs to be drawn upon to face the truth. And then, like, then what? Okay, so
Hmm.
now I realize I'm living in a slave system. Then what am I going to do? And that's, I think, then we tune into our own intuition, or connect with high power guides, whatever it is, and then see what it is that is what's our role in this.
Yeah.
So your role is one of them, providing a platform for people to share this information,
Hmm.
and mine is to write books. I also feel like one of the things that I can do every day in the most simplest way is to be either neutral with my energy or somewhat positive. I don't have
Yeah.
to be experiencing bliss or joy or whatever, because that's all, it's possible, but it's also very challenging in this
Yeah.
world. So if I can emanate either a neutral or a positive energy, then I'm contributing to raising the frequency of the collective, of the planet. Because
I was going to say, I actually believe that the the most powerful moment is the present. So if that's what you're doing, is practicing presence and being grounded, that is such a pivotal point.
yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
just being is the power. So, and
And
I think a lot of us are designed to just be in that way,
yeah,
and a lot of us are designed to also serve, right? Serve
yeah,
outwardly, and so it sounds like you're doing both.
yeah, that's my intention. I heard the mantra uh, uh, like 40 years ago, to heal and serve, and so that's really what I'm still doing
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the best of my ability. And I also want to point out that when you say grounded, I'm talking about directly connected to the earth in terms of grounding. Like for
right.
me, nature's where it's at,
Yeah.
especially now, especially how we've been disconnected from nature by wearing rubber soled shoes or living in
Oh
cities,
yeah,
or
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And the sun's been demonized, like don't go out, you'll get cancer and die, all that. We've been basically disconnected from nature in physically and also in our hearts, which is so disempowering and sickening for
Yeah.
human beings because we are nature. We're not separate from nature. We are nature. So
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time. I don't really wear shoes. Even at work, I don't wear shoes. I stay connected to the earth, and Earth's a giant battery. So it's giving
Mm-hmm.
me the energy that I need, the electrons that I need, the recalibrating my nervous system because that gets pretty shot sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's essential. That's not even a hippie woo woo thing anymore. Okay,
No.
you can do grounding visualizations, and you can eat rich vegetables, and it's important to actually do something like physically connecting your body to the earth. So sit with your back against a tree, touch plants when you walk past them, obviously not the poisonous thorny ones or whatever, but as you're going past, you can just brush past a plant. Even if you're in the city, you can do that. Put your
Yeah.
hand against the bark of the tree. And then the most we're most receptive to the healing energies or the empowering energies or whatever when we're relaxed. So going and lying on the grass, just
Mm-hmm.
take 5 minutes, no phones, nothing, just go and lie on the grass, watch the clouds, close your eyes, meditate or whatever, and hold the awareness that you're receiving all it is that you need. You don't have to know what it is. You don't have to feel anything, but just trust that you are receiving what you need, and then give thanks, and then go about your day. But that's really important every day to connect the physical body to the earth, especially electromagnetically with
Yeah.
all the dirty electricity and EMFs and all that stuff, because we're very fine in our vibration and it
Yeah.
can easily be thrown off. Especially now we've got, what I'm understanding is, as we're going through a shift from, let's call it, just darkness to light, or the age of Pisces into Aquarius, the
Mm-hmm.
Kali Yuga to the Dwapara Yuga. We are going through an upswing in conscious evolution, collectively and individually,
Yeah.
and that is triggered by light. So the light that's coming through the sun, because the sun's a portal, so from the great central sun, from the cosmos and ever, that light is increasing in frequency. And that is evidenced by the Schumann resonance, which is
Mm-hmm.
a measurement of the Earth's frequency,
Yeah.
usually at 7.83 hertz. And now we're getting the like fifth
It's
dimensional light coming in.
yeah.
So if we're going to go through these changes with the most ease and grace and not like suffer physically, then if we're connected to the earth, we're going through the changes with the earth, as part of the earth, not as a separate entity. So sunlight is essential, especially because now most of us are getting our light from computer screens and fluorescent lights and all that. To be receiving sunlight in your eyes every day. I sun gaze every morning, get that light, which is evolutionary light, healing light,
Mm-hmm.
antidepressant light, into my eyes, through to my pineal and pituitary glands, and that's an enormous help for me.
Yeah.
Expands my consciousness. That's how I was able to write my last book, receiving information from the sun. And then if you can't get the sunlight for whatever reason, you can get light from candlelight, firelight, the
Mm-hmm.
light that shines through prisms, the light
Mm-hmm.
that reflects off water. When you see that sparkly light, you
Yeah.
can look at that and get sunlight, moonlight, starlight, any natural light. So that's key at the moment, is to be receiving light. And, you don't want to go out and fry yourself, obviously, but we do need sun on our skin in order for the
Yeah.
body to then be able to function.
I think that that's one of the we've actually it's been a topic in my household lately is how cut off I have felt from nature. Me personally, so I know everybody else experiences it too, but like I don't handle, my body does not handle severe, like, extreme temperatures, especially with the hot in Texas. I can't do that. Like my body, it makes me flare up and actually get sick. And
Mm.
so I have gotten to a place where I work inside. When I'm at home, I'm resting, so I'm not outside. I'm not getting, except for traveling from point A to point B, I'm not getting the exposure I need and the outside time, because unless it's cold here in Texas, I'm never outside. Like basically from like June until October, I'm not outside because I hate my life and it's like a volcano here.
Hmm.
So the only time I feel like I'm more immersed in nature is like when we travel and go, like we just got back from Utah, and I spent more time outside in the few days we were in Utah than I do in a whole fucking year in Texas.
Right.
And that breaks my soul. Like it makes me so unhappy.
Yeah.
I still ground? Am I immersed in water all the time? Am I doing other practices? Sure, but it's just not the same thing as being able to feel the freedom and really be like joined with nature when you're out in it.
Right. Well, you can spend time outside at night.
Yeah, yeah, and I do. I do
Yeah.
every chance I get, but
And
I prefer the night because of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I do when I lived in the more in the city was I bought nature indoors. So I have a lot of
Hmm.
plants indoors. It's, you know, a bit like a jungle in here. I
Yeah.
also do aromatherapy, so I can do pine
Yeah.
or,
I do all that too. So that's
frankincense. Right. So
those
that's
things have helped a ton because I
they
have
do,
all of
don't
that.
they?
Yeah, they really
And
do.
the other one that I did a lot was I played nature sounds
Oh
on
yeah.
YouTube videos. So whatever that was, whatever it felt like, whether it was
Yeah.
falling rain or jungle
Birds
sounds
or
or
waterfalls.
birds,
Yeah. Yeah.
dolphins, whatever it is, because that's the like that's food for our soul,
Yeah.
food for our body, and it's really important to do that. In addition to eating living foods, so I'm here in Hawaii. I get a lot of fresh fruits to eat,
Yeah.
and that really helps to vitalize the body with the energies of nature. I sprout sprouts, which anyone can do. That's the easiest thing. Just a jar with some sprouts, whatever you want, lentils, mung beans, whatever.
Yeah.
Put them
Yeah.
in water, put a cloth over the top, then you can just rinse them out and sprout them on the sink, and that gives you the energy of like life force energy
Hmm.
that comes through nature. So there are ways that we can bring nature indoors even if we can't get out.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
said even like I know there's this experiment done where they had it was in a hospital and they had one of the corridors had pictures of plants along the
Hmm.
walls, and people chose to without even really thinking they would walk along those paths. People who had views out windows healed better than people that stared at brick walls. So it's such an important part of our well-being
It is
to,
one of my daily practices. Like I have to sleep in like a black dark cave and it has to be freezing for me to sleep well. But the first thing I do in the morning is I open like I have a huge window with this beautiful view. And in order for me to like get my day started, I have to open these big blackout curtains and all the sun just comes pouring in. And I will literally lay there in the sunlight right there at the edge of my bed for like 20 minutes, 45 minutes before I even start my day.
that's what a perfect way to start the
Yeah,
day,
totally. I'm just
especially
like,
like greeting the sun too. That's a
yeah,
and I when I sun gaze, I giving thanks to the sun, and yeah, and just really appreciating the sun
yeah,
for its role in keeping me alive, basically.
yeah. If that's all I can do is to soak in the sun through, safely through the windows so it's not 900 degrees on my skin, then
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that.
right. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So can we talk a little bit about who Isabella was before, um, who you are now and what you're offering? Like, how did you get here?
Well, I got here on there's been a lot of shit that I've had to deal with in my life.
Yeah,
My like I said, my mother was my first cult leader. She was an alcoholic with a narcissistic personality disorder, and I've only learned about this afterwards. I'm still studying it, but
right.
I was the black sheep, the scapegoat, the eldest daughter, and she basically
I've had that same role, so I totally get it.
it's hell. It really is hell.
Yeah,
It takes a lot of time to heal from. I
yeah.
didn't have self love. I didn't have boundaries, and I ended up. Met the man who I had children with, and he was a lot older than me. I had daddy issues and all that, whatever. But anyway, he was a fabulous human being, and we had a wonderful connection. My mother was also a devout atheist. She was actually a militant atheist, and she believed anyone who believed in God was like a subhuman. not worth, not worth your time. So I grew up feeling kind of superior to other people. And it
Okay.
wasn't until I met Barry that he gave me some books to read, like autobiography of a yogi. And he was a warrior in the physical sense of the word. He did 4 tours of Vietnam and was a mountaineer and lived a big life like that. But he also had his spiritual awakenings, and we sort of dovetailed, did meditation together. We did tantra, we did shamanic journeying, and started living my dream on some land with fruit trees and chickens and all that. And I
Yeah.
was 3 months pregnant with our second child when he went off to work. We both worked in outdoor education using outdoor adventure activities for either team building in the corporate world, or for me, it was with young people who had their first mental health diagnosis.
Okay.
And so he went off to work with his new company and whatever, and I got a knock on the door at 10 o'clock in the morning from a neighbor and the cop, and they told me that he'd been found dead in his car. So I'm like, oh, fuck,
Oh,
my whole dream's gone. I knew, my
yeah.
soulmate's gone. Not growing old with anyone on any porches. No, no. Then I wanted out. I didn't even want to live anymore. But I
Yeah.
was pregnant and I had a 3-year-old, so I really needed to stay alive for them. So I spent a lot of time trying to find a place that felt like home,
Yeah.
and I traveled around a lot. I ended up in a community outside of Melbourne, and I did a shamanic journeying course where I had a massive out of body experience, and I met Barry during that experience and other beings who directed me to go and start training with this individual who I'd heard about but I'd never met before. At that time, he was promoting himself as a trance channel. He was
Okay.
a failed actor out of Hollywood and whatever, and he invited me to come to his ashram in California, which I did. And we got married pretty quickly, and I got pregnant pretty quickly, and we had a child, and we were living in his community in Laguna Hills in Southern California. And from the outside, it looked like a sort of normal family home or whatever, but it was hell. It was an absolute nightmare. This guy then announced himself as the second coming, the Maitreya, the
Oh,
one to save humanity. Yeah,
okay.
right. And I was the wife of Christ, and
So was he schizophrenic? Was he
no,
dealing with?
just narcissistic personality disorder and
Hmm.
demon possessed as well. So that was horrible experience. I didn't know how to get out. I felt trapped by the fact that we had a child together and he wouldn't let me leave with her. And also the biggest one he had over me was he knew my spiritual path is my main reason for breathing.
Right.
And he said if I left him, I would be turning my back on God, on my purpose. And I'd traveled thousands of lifetimes to get to him. So that really kept me trapped
Yeah.
until my son was found dead behind the house, and that was blamed on me. It was blamed that it was said he was gay, and I wouldn't accept it
Can
until he'd taken
you
his life.
can
All
you
this,
which son,
my
which
eldest son.
your first son with
Yeah.
Barry?
No, that was Barry was my son's father.
Okay. That's
I
what I
had
mean. Like your first son from Barry.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
So
Yeah,
so you've lost Barry and now you've lost your son. How old was he?
15.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
And once again, I wanted out.
Yeah, no, I
Just did
totally know
not
what,
want to live. But
yeah.
I thought I had 2 children. Once again, I didn't feel it was fair to them to have to experience the life without a mother, or a mother who'd taken herself out. I didn't feel that they deserved that. So I went from breath to breath for about 6 months until I knew I needed help. And I knew it couldn't come from a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I knew I needed to speak to someone who had an understanding more of the spiritual nature of life. So I
Yeah.
went to see this guy who'd been the cult counselor for many years, and he'd left. He'd had his own epiphany. And when I walked in the door, he said, I knew you'd come and see me one day, because I never went during the cult days. I was actually pretty disobedient disciple. You know, I
Yeah.
got into a lot of punishments for my disobedience, and one of them was I didn't go to see this guy until after my son was, I'm going to say, murdered, allegedly.
Okay.
And he said, you're in a cult, don't you? And I said, no, I didn't know I was in a cult. I thought I was in an ashram with my guru. And he said, go home and Google cult characteristics. So there's the checklist. Charismatic leader who's the arbitrator of truth, who controls everyone's everything from what they eat, when they sleep, who they're with, who they have sex with, who they don't have sex with, where they work, when they go on holidays. Everything's controlled, and then there's no accountability on behalf of that person can do, say whatever they want, and it's never their responsibility, never their
Right.
fault, because they're perfect.
Right.
And then there's I learn about love bombing, because I went from the wife of Christ to the Antichrist. There's the
Mm-hmm.
hate bombing. I'm the
Mm-hmm.
worst mother in the world.
Well, it's the discard phase. Devalue, discard. That's what it is. You love bomb, and if they don't appease you, then you devalue and discard.
And then you get trauma bonded, and then
Hmm.
big mess. Then I learn about gaslighting. This guy's a failed actor, so he's gaslighting everybody all the time.
Right,
And
because he's gaslighting himself too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I came to learn it was all well and good for me to say, oh, well, he's got the narcissistic personality disorder, but what did that mean about me? Why had I got into a relationship with him? And I
Hmm.
learned that narcissistic personality disorder and what it is being called like codependent tendencies, which
Right.
is looking outside self for love, they're
Hmm.
both rooted in lack of self-love.
Right,
Only the
which
narcissist
starts in our
creates it.
childhood
Yeah,
homes. Yeah.
starts in childhood. So
Yeah.
his lack of self love manifests as him pretending to be the one to save humanity. So he gets adored and praised and all
Yeah.
that.
That's
And
called it's called grandiose narcissism. Yeah.
yeah, he didn't. He we went to see at some point we had to see a psychiatrist when we doing the child custody battle, and he wasn't even diagnosed with the narcissistic personality disorder, which I thought was outrageous because like, he's such a classic case. So
Yeah.
anyway, once I learned I was in a cult, then I realized I had to get out,
Hmm.
and uh, I didn't even want to stay in the States anymore. And I think he finally let me go because he knew he was going to have another death on his hands because I just couldn't stay there any longer. And my parents apparently they were divorced long ago, but they went to see a cult expert within a year of me leaving Australia. So this is like 8 years before all this happened, and they never said anything, which is why said earlier on that it's important to know about being in a cult. Apparently, experts say, "Oh, don't tell someone they're in a cult because you just drive them further in, and then you lose your relationship." But there has to be ways other than just saying, "Oh, you're in a cult, don't you?" Like you could present. For me, I could have had photographic evidence of this guy because we ended up in a celibate marriage, but he wasn't celibate. He's the one raping the men, grooming the boys. He's a pedophile. All that gets unearthed,
Hmm.
and oh, it's just so horrible. Anyway, I uh, escaped and then started learning about narcissistic personality disorder, codependency. Then I'm learning about cults and studying how cults operate. I'm learning about mind control, brainwashing. And like I said, then I was able to see, hey, wait a minute, this isn't just a one off experience of me in the cult. I can see how it's operating on
Yeah.
the larger scale. So that's pretty much a summary of where I am now. But basically, I didn't talk about what happened to me. It took me like 15 years to even speak about it because I was still making sense of it. I'm still finding out stuff
Yeah.
now.
Well, and that's fair because also it's really hard to give a voice when you're still unpacking the layers. It's really hard to feel like you have a stable ground to stand on
Yeah.
when it's still fucking crumbling under your feet. And I say that because I've also lost a child and I've
Oh,
also experienced probably all very similar torments. Um, and I think the difference when I hear your story and mine is you thought to yourself, well, I have other kids, I need to keep going. I did not have that thought. I thought to myself, I have other kids and they'd be better off without me because fuck this. Like, and having the thought of, oh, I need to do better for other people was actually what was hurting me. It was another pressure that I didn't need when I was trying so hard to keep my head above water to begin with.
mhm.
And so those pressures were the things that I had to unhook from. just so I could even figure out how to stand up again.
Yeah.
And it was excruciating because you don't just lose your kid. You didn't just lose your husband and the kid and then you lost yourself and then you lost everything that was attached to these ideas of what life should look like. You lose fucking everything.
Yeah.
Even your other kids that are still with you, you also lose them in a massive sense. And then you have to somehow figure out a way to piece things back together and make sense. And that's like, where does that even fucking come from?
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy because that I actually have lost all my children now. We were talking about cults being social movements.
Yeah.
I am learning about this cult of parental estrangement.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
actually it
It's
is
a
mushrooming.
massive thing. It's a
It's a
massive
massive
thing.
thing. I had no idea. I thought it was just me. I thought, oh yeah, I'm a pretty fucked up
No.
person. I've made bad decisions. No wonder my kids don't want anything to do with me. Then I realized like 1 in 4 families in
Yeah.
America are being affected by parental estrangement. And
Yeah.
it's such an evil thing. It's
It's awful.
completely rotting society from the inside out, like most of the other strategies that are being used to totally fuck with humanity.
Yeah.
That this parental estrangement, it hurts. I mean, so I'm a childless mother. I have nowhere for that motherly love to go.
Right.
I got a cat. I look after plants. I make food and give to people, but I'm a grandmother without grandchildren. I don't have that. I don't have really anything like that to, like family things to look forward to.
Hmm.
I don't, there's
Again,
no
more
birthdays to
grief.
celebrate,
Just
more grief.
grief.
It's just,
Yeah, grief on top of grief. Just layers of it. I
and the
go
I
ahead.
just want to say the irony of it that I stayed alive for my daughters, and
Right.
they've now chosen to be motherless. They've made themselves orphans. Like that irony just pisses me off because I could have,
Yeah.
I
You're
could
like,
have
I could
stopped.
have stopped suffering ages ago.
Right, I
You're
could have.
like, yeah.
And
Um,
then they're sorry, I just want to put this point in.
you're
So their
fine.
criticism of me is that I got into a cult, and that's what they're in. They're in the cult of parental estrangement, being supported online, told that, oh yeah, protect your peace, your parents are toxic, they're narcissists, you're doing the right thing, like good on you. Meanwhile, there's no place for any type of healing. There's no place for any type of reconciliation, no place for any emotional maturity or growth or anything. And I mean, maybe time apart is necessary for some healing, but really,
But you know what I can tell
it's
you about this is it comes full circle. They will come back. They
well,
will.
I don't know that they will. I really don't, because they were both brainwashed by the cult
But you
leader
were
and my
brainwashed too,
mother.
and you came back, right?
But
So
I wasn't brainwashed to hate my mother.
true. But what I mean is there everything in as far as I've experienced comes full circle. I can share a quick story with you where my youngest daughter now, she is 19, and her dad's family is Mormon. And typically, generally, I actually have a lot of fondness for the Mormon community, even though I'm a lot more anti-religion. Um, but the stepmom that came into her life, like always, just despised me and had issues, towards me and all the things. And that family had uh, practiced parental alienation against the judges, against the paperwork. They did not give a fuck. They
Yeah.
didn't care how much it hurt her. She was taught to doubt herself. She was taught to hide her affections towards me, and if she had fun, it was looked down upon. Any way that they could try to harm our connection,
Yeah.
it was supported and attacked in every way possible. And what ended up happening is, as much as that killed me, and I was already going through so much after the death of a child, like the last thing I needed was to lose another child, but that was what was happening, right? The wedge got bigger and bigger. What ended up happening was the full circle moment where I just had to I was like, okay, I just have to, she has a path too, and I have to just let her figure this out. I can only be here when she allows that and she has to kind of figure some of this out on her own. And that's what happened. And a year ago, in July, she moved in with me full time.
Oh,
And she's been here since then. And she has learned how to use her voice. She has learned how to regulate. She has learned what safety and peace looks like when she never felt that in her body living at her dad's house. Um, and she has a very strained relationship with them now. So what I mean is, I feel like there are moments where full circles definitely happen. And I'm
right.
hoping that you get that full circle moment too.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing that story. I'm so happy for you that you are able to heal with your daughter. That's so. Oh, there are no words for that. I can only imagine.
It's
I can only imagine. I hope from. I heard another story from a friend of mine whose husband was alienated from his children when they got divorced. The kids are about 12 or whatever, and he thought, oh well, they'll come around when they're adults, and they never did. In fact, they stayed hostile and whatever.
yeah.
And it was only when their children, so his grandchildren, alienated or estranged their his sons.
Hmm.
So now, and now the sons are coming to the father
They're
saying
learning.
that they're now learning. They're going, I was a
Yeah.
real dick. I realized what I did. Because if you
Yeah.
think about it, so my daughters are modeling to their children how to cope with differences of opinion, different worldviews, hurt feelings or whatever. They're modeling that you run, you ditch the relationship. That like there's nothing to be gained here other than just burn the whole thing to the ground. And
Yeah.
that's a very kids learn from what they see, right? So they're
Right.
they're really playing with fire.
Yeah, they really are. And that's what I always say too. It's kind of like one of my mottos is people dig their own holes. Let them do it. Let
Yeah,
them do it.
I agree.
Because at the end of this, again, her parents, the other parents they weren't parents I could co-parent with without being abused also. Like I was also being abused by them. Um, and at the end of that story, they spent so much energy trying to put the wedge there that that's what actually pushed them away, pushed them almost, they're doing it to themselves. And so I
Hmm.
just go,
Yeah.
let them do it. Let them do it.
Yeah, it's a pain, so much pain in family relationships when they are toxic, and it
Yeah,
and it carries on. Like there's
it does.
multi-generational trauma now. And the irony is that I remember before I had children, I knew that there was a toxic lineage in my family, especially in the mother line,
Yeah.
and I thought I'm gonna be the one. I'm gonna break this
Well,
pattern.
that's what
No, I don't know. I think I made it worse.
I don't think so because your story's not over.
Yeah. Oh,
And
that's true. Yeah,
your
that is
story's not
true.
over and look at what you're doing to put yourself out there and heal so many others. That is what heals the mother line and what brings the things full circle, even if it doesn't feel so possible right now, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still pretty raw.
Yeah.
But
And
then I
that's fair. That's fair to
yeah.
say because like even just a year ago it was really raw for me still, right? Like I was still being, the alienation was being practiced in every conversation. My kid couldn't even call or text me without retaliation.
Oh God.
It was disgusting. And then they got to a point where they were putting apps on her phone so she couldn't even privately have conversations with me.
Oh,
It was awful. Like the level of disgust, disconnection, and lack of care for her actual well-being was
right,
putrid on every level. Just psychotic.
right.
Yeah. So for her to be out of that now and finally feel what it's like to feel safe in her body and safe in her environment, I've seen a completely different version of her
Yeah.
be born.
Well, she's
It's,
home with mom now, so
yeah.
it's the best
Yeah.
place.
It's good. But I love that you're still giving that. You're still also giving that to other people, even if you don't feel like it's being recognized.
Yeah, I feel a lot of shame around it,
Yeah.
actually. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the purposes of the whole thing is to keep us feeling shame and guilt and all that. Because, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't really like talking about it because usually the response from most people, unless they've been through this situation, is, what, you must have done something as a parent. You
No,
know,
no,
and people are so quick to blame the
right.
parents. And the irony is that, well, often parents are the ones to blame, but with this whole estrangement movement,
Yeah,
it's really, the focus needs to be on, well, what are the adult children, what are they doing, what are they learning, where's their forgiveness for mistakes that were made. Like, are they going to be now never forgiven for their mistakes? It's a
right.
real mindfuck, another one. But
Yeah, it is. And also, there is I think it's natural and normal for people to want to seek and find the labels and the understanding and the definitions for here's what has happened to me. And that's okay. That's how they become aware too. But the other part of that is if you don't stay in that, right? There's another part of that story, and that's finding connection and how to be kind and respectful even when there's differences, right?
yeah, yeah.
I
Mhm.
don't necessarily have the closest relationship with my biological dad, but I don't like let him mistreat me. I've gotten really good about those boundaries, but I also love and adore him still.
Yeah,
And we are finding ways to still have a connection even when it's hard. And I think that that's the piece where maybe those younger adult children they don't have that maturity yet, but it will come. You know what I mean? That's the hope, right? Is
that's the
that
hope.
that's the
Yeah.
hope. Yeah, is that the other layers to that will come. Um, yeah. Cult entrapment, man, that's such a wild subject, but it's so like it is I feel like you said it best, like it's kind of everywhere. It's just the program. It's the program running in the matrix, and it's unfortunate. So I know you said you're an author, right?
Hmm.
Your book, do you have it with you? I want
I
to,
do.
yeah.
This is my book.
Oh, look
It's
at
called
that.
New Human of New Earth.
That is
It's
gorgeous.
ridiculously long. It's about
Wow.
1,800 pages
That's like
with
a fucking
1,800 poems.
encyclopedia, not a book.
It's a doorstop, mate.
It is. Like, dang, how long did it take you to write that thing?
It took 7 years, but
Wow.
I started it.
Yeah.
I actually thought I was going to be writing about grounding, and so I started writing about grounding. That just continued on into learning about the benefits of sun gazing and all that. And
Yeah.
then when the scamdemic started, I just knew that there was this other. I don't haven't really felt comfortable with using these words before, but the only way to describe it is there was a book coming in. It was a download, and I just
Yeah.
had to start
Yeah.
writing another book.
That's how it works.
And that took me 8 months. And it's a lot shorter, but it's basically a summary. It's basically like, please, recognize what's going on right now, because it's not what
Yeah.
you're being told is going on.
Yeah.
And then and the other part of the book is a vision for the future of humanity, when we are living in harmony with each other and with nature, and all the bullshits, all the evils not playing a part of our lives anymore. So
Yeah.
once was that book got published, then I went back to writing this other book and finished it about a year ago. But it's such a good book. It's got all hundreds of natural medicines that can be found in nature, right from crystal medicine to tree touching to herbal medicine, bark flower essences, all just a reminder that there are hundreds of natural medicines in nature that are there for us to
Yeah.
use, and so to optimize our physical health and our mental health. Then
Yeah.
there's also that we've got technologies in our bodies. We have our voice, we have our breath, we have our movement, and there are also some very refined, like barely physiological processes that happen within the human body that can restore us. And the yogis have used it in the past to live for hundreds of years and whatever. So it's called Raising the Chrism. It's
Okay.
aligned with the moon phase that the sun was in when we were born. It's too long to go into now, but
Yeah.
if someone's interested, it's called Raising the Chrism or the Sacred Secretion, and there are a few teachers of that online.
Is it,
Tell-
I know it's about lunar phases, but also is it like crystal grid work as well, or is it,
I haven't done it with the crystal grid work. It's
okay,
just a process that lasts for about 5 days within all of our
okay,
bodies, and it happens organically,
okay,
but it can be destroyed really easily by like alcohol or
right.
street drugs or anger or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you just stay in a peaceful place, the process can go on and help to heal and rejuvenate and basically give us like the light of the world, they say.
You
So
said
I've read
raising the chrism.
Chrism, CHRISM, or the sacred secretion.
Okay, okay,
So I talk about the body technologies that we can use to help
yeah,
us feel better, and then the technologies like spiritual technologies. There's prayer and meditation and mantras and yantras and
yeah,
things like that. So it's a reminder really of all the medicines, not all of them, many of the medicines that are available to us that are often overlooked,
yeah.
considered too like hippie woo woo stuff or too simple to matter, but they're powerful tools. They're
Yeah.
safe, they're effective, they're free. Anyone can access them and use them at any time. You don't need any, special anythings.
So it's
And
like a whole, it's like just your beginning to end holistic guide, and there's
yeah,
all the tips, tricks, skills, tools
right.
that
How to,
are,
and a reminder that we're not doing this alone. We have the support
yeah,
of countless beings of love and light. That's something to
yeah,
remember. It's not just us down here on earth trying to figure shit out.
no,
We have the support, the guidance, the blessings, the love and light of beings, because we are being like observed.
yeah. We have
This
a
isn't,
whole
right?
galactic federation watching over us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And without their permission to help, so you can invite them in,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and then they can help because they can't override free will. And then there's another part too, is how to protect oneself from evil entities, because they're out there too, and they can appear as benevolent beings and they're not, and they'll fuck you up, they'll take your attention away or lead you down a wrong path or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So there's written about how to stay protected, and the most effective way is to embody light. Practice sun gazing, because darkness can't exist where there's light. So the more light we are, the more light we embody. You can do it through meditation or, like I said, the actual practice of it. And then just see yourself as the absolute like force of light, a billion suns. And that's the protection, as well as one's intention to stay protected from
Yeah.
anything other than pure love and light.
Again, that is a massive encyclopedia you've got there. I love that you've literally just poured yourself into that, and
Yeah,
that
it,
is
it
such a huge act of love.
thank you. It feels so good that it's actually done now. Like it took me
Yeah.
40 days just to format it all. I think I cried for every single one of those days. Oh my God, it was so traumatic because I self published. Highly recommend self publishing to anyone who's writing a book. It's really easy.
Yeah.
Then you're in total control. You don't have to capitulate to anyone. I did everything. You do need a good editor. That's one
Yeah.
thing that I did want, but self-publishing worked out really well, and now it's so good to have it
Yeah.
that I said everything I wanted to say.
Yeah, you got it out there. And now you're working on the memoir, which I'm glad that you brought up because I was actually going to ask what your next kind of like bold move was, like where you were going. But a memoir you said is different. And I assume, so just I'm also leaning towards working on a memoir. I've got a couple books I'm wanting to write as well. However, I plan on doing my memoir from like a fiction style memoir, mostly for legal reasons. Um, and so, covering names and all that, all that kind of jazz. But I would imagine, and this is something I've thought of, um, sitting down to do the memoir itself, you have to revisit every one of those raw stories, which means your body has to experience it again.
Right, means I'm gutted on the floor crying my heart
Yes,
out
every
again.
single time, every time. It's not like, oh, it's not, PTSD is a thing for a reason, right? Those traumas are embedded on a cellular memory. And so it's not like I just visit a memory and I move out of it. It's not like that. No, my entire body feels it like I did the very first fucking time.
Right,
And so
right,
we have to actually go through hell to write those books.
right. I didn't realize that. I thought, oh, this will be fun. This will be different. Because
Oh,
I'd been
it's
gutted on the
different.
floor. It's
It's
different.
definitely different. Yeah.
I'm crying. I'm gutted on the floor for a different reason now.
Yeah.
And I've kept journals since I was about 6. So I've got
Yep.
journals to read.
Yep.
I've been a photographer since about the same age. So it's
Yeah.
so painful to like
Yeah.
pull up old memories, and then there's the gap between what was and then what, never will be again. It's very,
Right.
very
And then
sad.
there's also the sometimes the guilt that we go through because our brains protect us from some of the things, right? Like we
Mm,
have blocks and gaps in our memory because we've been so horribly traumatized. And then I don't know about you, but I have felt guilt about that. I'm like, why can I not remember my own fucking kid? Or in this, like I have moments where I'm like, I don't understand why I can't connect these thoughts because my body's saying, "Hey, wait, it's not time to do that yet. Like you're not safe enough for that yet." And so then I get mad at my body for protecting me, right? Because part of the problem is I want to remember the thing, but my body says it's not time to remember the thing. Like I'm not, it's too much and it's not safe. And I go, oh, how the fuck can I not remember my kid? Who the fuck does that? What kind of shitty mom am I? Like, do you go through that? Like, it's awful.
I think what I understand what you're saying about not
Yeah,
being able to remember stuff, and I think an important part, because and I am sorry that you have similar experiences to me, because they're some of the worst pain, the worst pain.
awful. I would never wish
Awful.
it on my enemies.
Never. And I
No.
think the thing about the when people say, "Well, how did you get through? How'd you get through? Like,
Oh, yeah.
how are you standing here, sitting here today, actually talking like a normal person?" And for me, it was staying really back to the present moment again, with actually feeling the feelings, whether what, and that was often being in snot, screaming into a towel. It was ugly, and it gets ugly. It's gotten less ugly over time, but I think that
Yeah.
what really helped me was to be in that intense emotional
It
experience
shifted it
fully.
faster because you had
Yeah,
to feel it.
I did it. I
Right?
thought,
Most people bypass that. They
yeah,
stay busy, they work themselves to death, they do whatever they can to avoid the pain because it's so fucking suffocating.
right.
Right? There's not even language strong enough to
No,
explain how
absolutely not.
fucking crippling that shit is.
Except that you
And
feel that you're going to die.
you
That
definitely
you're
feel
about
you
to.
not
You
only do
probably
you
want to die. Yeah, you want to
not
die.
only do you feel like you're going to die, you actually want to kill
Right.
yourself. You
Yeah, you
actually
do.
want to. And
Yeah.
I did for years, years and years. I wanted to fucking commit suicide.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I even made it through any of this, what I can't even take credit and be like, oh, yeah, I just did the things that I had to do. I don't fucking know what got me through it. Probably my fucking guide screaming at me and pulling me by my hair through all of it because I wanted to fucking off myself 800 times a day.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, I wouldn't be here right now. This would
Yeah.
be a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't even take credit. I'm just like, I don't know. It wasn't me though. I was checked out.
Right.
So
But it is important for people to know that going, as painful as it is, that there is an end,
there
not a
is.
complete end, but you just go. It just. I don't believe in that whole closure thing around grief and death. I think that's just bullshit. Because really, how do you get closure? I don't. I don't get closure. I just get to experience more days with less suffering. But I'm still carrying the weight of the grief and the loss. And I don't expect
Yeah.
there to be closure around that. I've just now got a container. It's in a container within me that every now and again gets, or particularly with like writing the memoir, gets like poked and tapped, and then more leaks out.
I think for my experience, I've definitely experienced closure in moments. And it was something I learned I had to give myself. It wasn't something I could get from some other force outside of me. And that's the only thing that I think has allowed me to feel so much closure around so many of those tabs, that we have
Well, that's
running.
good.
And that was, I think that's the closest that I could maybe share on that subject.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, good
Um,
work. And
it
it does require work.
it definitely does.
It,
We definitely always have to find like what works for us and run with it.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been a fabulous chat, and I had no idea that we would have so many
I
similarities.
know, neither did I. I
It's
did hear you.
unfortunate that we're have so many similarities, but
Yeah,
also
right. It
not.
is
It's
unfortunate.
like I'm sorry that your life was pure hell, but also, hey soul sister, how you doing? Like, so
Well, they say that suffering's the crucible for wisdom, and I've learned a lot, and that's
yeah,
why I'm grateful to be able to share it
yeah,
through podcasts because um, there are a lot of medicines, I'm calling them, or tools or practices that we can use along the way
yeah.
to get us through these tough times. And yeah, that's what I mainly I'm on repeat on my YouTube channel, that just reminding people, get outside, touch the earth, touch trees, watch animals, watch your cat play, look at clouds,
Well, it
just
is the repetition that people need, though, because like if you think about how long it takes to create a habit and all that repetition, you have to keep finding even if it's 2 seconds of joy, fucking do it. Two
yeah,
seconds is still important. And then
right,
2 seconds turns into four, and then it turns into 8 minutes. And then before you know it, you've got a whole different day that you would have never thought you could have obtained.
right.
Yeah,
I
just
always every day
practice.
I connect with nature, like directly connect with nature.
Yeah,
Uh, Eat some kind of um, living foods, fresh fruits or whatever. I'm not into raw food or whatever. Just make sure my body's nourished.
yeah,
Make sure that I drink some pure water, spring water or whatever, that's maybe been out in the sun,
yeah.
and then do something creative.
Yep, that's
That's cook
important.
food or write the book or go out into the garden. And then other thing that I like doing is do something for someone else,
Yes.
whether that's pulling the neighbor's bins in or making some food and sharing it or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
I find if I include those elements, oh, and also, connect with God, which I do, it's not something I really have to like think about now.
Yeah, it's hard. It's kind of a given. It's just
it's a
the
given,
life. It's kind of the lifestyle, so you don't really have to make a thing of it as
right.
much because it's just the
But
lifestyle.
to express gratitude
Yeah,
for what I do have, and I find if I put those elements into my day, it goes a lot better. And it's
absolutely.
just really simple. Just keep it simple. We don't have to, you know, we don't really have to like do a lot or go
Yeah.
far, or whatever. We can just do those things from home, and yeah, like you say, the whole day goes a lot better.
It was a whole lot different, that's for sure. Isabella, is there anything that we did not touch base on that we need to before we wrap up?
No, I think we covered
We
all the
cover.
things that I feel are important to talk about: embodying light, connecting with nature,
Okay.
like you said, doing things that bring joy,
Yeah.
finding moments of peace, and doing human stuff.
Yeah.
Put the music on and dance, and play board games, go camping, just do human stuff. It's really important
Yeah.
now because there's so much push for us to be um, living in this technological, like robotic cyborg type of world, and
Yeah.
that's when we're most disempowered
Yeah.
and we get the most sick. So by remaining human and connecting to nature is how we stay empowered and mentally and physically and spiritually well.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Okay. And if somebody wants to work with you, what's the fastest way for them to find you or best way for them to contact you?
My YouTube channel is called Feeling Better Naturally,
Okay.
and I have a Substack, Feeling Better Naturally,
Okay.
and my email is my name, Isabella Young, number 19 at gmail.com. I don't actually have clients or, so I, I just share what I know through those platforms.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, guys. So, Isabella, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I think this conversation has been, it's definitely been so much more, and I guess inspiring and enlightening than I thought it would be. I had no idea we would have so much in common.
Neither did
Um,
I.
yeah, so that's really fabulous grounds. But if you guys are looking to connect with Isabella, her information will be in the show notes. If you are feeling like this, these topics resonated with your soul and you want to work with me privately, my booking links are also going to be in the show notes. So I think that's it, Isabella. We're going to end it right here. Bye, you guys. See you next
Thank you.
time.
Sending love and light.
Thank
Thank you.
you.